recording now. This is a continuation of 2.1, understanding or writing large numbers. So I'm going to jot down the following number in standard form, and please copy this down. Again, I'm exaggerating the spaces. I'm exaggerating the spaces here. So this is the number we're going to work with for this part of the worksheet here. Okay. Now, standard form, if you're asked to write a number in standard form, basically what is that asking you? Okay, Jaden.
To write it in numbers?
Yeah, that's all, right? So are we familiar with standard form from last year? We're pretty okay with that? Okay. Thank you for this. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, expanded form. Now, when I ask you to write a number, or when you are asked to write a number in expanded form, what does it mean? Okay, if you're asked to write a number in expanded form, what does it mean? Okay. Yeah, expanded form. Exactly how it is in the in how it's said, expanded form. Do you guys remember from last year?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay, if you remember, who can explain? Okay, Lauren?
You write down each part of the number, adding zeros to make it equivalent to the part of the number it is.
Yeah, so let's just write that out here. Now we're going to take this same number here. Oh, by the way, who can say this number? I'm going to take a risk and say the number. Okay, I'm good?
28,897,714.
Okay, good. Okay, so make sure that we've all written that down, because we're going to use that number to do expanded form. Okay, expanded form. There are two ways to do it, and I don't know what you were taught last year, so I'll show you. Did you do times 10,000 times? Okay, we're going to go with what you did in grade 5, because that's what you'll have to do this year. Okay, so in brackets, so you're going to do 2. We're going to start with the 20 million, right? So 2 times. Now, it's going to be 2 times 10 million, right? Because that's going to be equivalent to its value. Okay? All I'm doing is I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros, and I'm adding it, and I'm saying 2 times 10 million, because that matches up with the value of the 2, right? Okay? Now, we always start, when you're writing expanded form, you always start with the biggest place, just so that it's in numerical order. Now, you have to put this in brackets because it's easy for separation, and the idea is that you're doing the multiplying in brackets first. Now, I might not have given you enough room, my apologies, on the sheet, so you might have to go outside the box. Okay. Now, what about the next part? What am I going to expand next here? And what would it be? What would be the calculation? Okay, Nick?
8 times 1 million.
Good job. 8 times 1 million. Okay. You have to do the zeros. Yeah. And again, make sure that you have spaces between the periods, right? And how many zeros should I be adding for 1 million? Everybody? Okay, good. Okay, anyways. Okay, now, what's the next one going to be? What's the next one going to be? Okay. Max. Don't take off my ear, please. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
800,000.
Okay. Next time I won't do that, actually. Okay. Don't forget you need to multiply as well, though, right? So thank you, Max. The other way. Thank you. Okay, plus, open bracket, 8 times 100,000. make sure you have it in brackets. Make sure you have spaces between the periods, right? Okay. Now you can continue if you want, but I'm going to go through this by step. What would be the next one? Okay. What would be the next one? No. No. Actually, that was enough for my ear for one day from you. Sorry. Okay, Emma, go.
It would be 9 times 10,000.
Excellent. Okay. So remember, open bracket again. No, we're not done yet. We've got actually 4 more, right? Okay, what about the next one? The next ones now they're not as big anymore, obviously. Okay. Drew?
It would be 7 times 1,000.
Good. Okay. Okay, and then we can do the last ones here. Okay. Someone want to do the next one? We're on to the second 7 in the number, right? I'm trying to pick someone out of this. Okay. Justin? Okay, 1 second.
7 times 100.
Thank you. Okay, plus what? Anna?
1 times 10.
Thanks. Okay. I'll tell you in a bit. Just wait. You're like 2 steps ahead of me. Okay, finally the last one, Vivian?
4 times 1.
Yeah, that's all. Okay, and we're done. Yes, expanded form takes a long time. Would I ask you like 10 questions about this on a test? No, because it takes a long time, right? You just have to be careful. Now, words, it's actually this year, it's going to be, you're going to write it the way you say it. And in words, typically you would write out the whole number, but in your textbook, words actually means write it the way you say it. So I'm going to allow this for words. For example, you can write down 28 million, but you have to do it in terms of periods, right? Now, what would be the next thing I would write down? Because you're just basically writing it the way you say it, right? Okay, Stephanie, go.
897,000.
Yeah. Now, remember in the past, I think you were asked to write out 28. It's okay this year if you just do the digits. If you wrote out the words, that's fine. 897,000. Is everyone following me? I hope. Okay. And then finally, what else am I going to write for the final one? Okay, Ty?
714.
Yeah, that's all. Okay, I'm going to skip media form for now because this is actually in the next lesson. Media form. But you remember you don't say units, right? We wouldn't say 714 units. It was 28,897,714. So words this year interpret it as write it the way you say it, because that's how it's presented in the textbook. Okay, media form is the last one on that page, and actually, I think I'm going to stop there because the other page is rounding. So media form is, okay, have you guys seen in a newspaper, I'm going to use this one as well, there were 28.9 million people. Do you understand how I got that? Oftentimes lotteries are reported this way. Oftentimes, speaking of athlete day today, athlete salaries are usually reported like this. You guys notice in the newspaper? Yeah, it's what media form does.
And like
House pricing as well. What media? Okay, actually, can someone tell me what does media form do to a number? I took the same number, 28,897,714, and I wrote it here as 28.9 million. What did I just do to the number? And that's how it's often reported in newspapers, sometimes on the internet, and you actually often see this. And there's a reason why it exists, and I'll ask you in a bit. Okay, Ravi?
It rounds it to make it a smaller number.
Well, it's actually the same number.
Yeah, well, but it isn't really because it's 897,000, but there's just 0.9. So that would mean 900,000. No, it's 28 million. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you're right. There's some. It has been rounded. You're correct. But also, you just said what I was getting at.
You simplify it.
You're simplifying it. Okay, here's a question. Which one is easier? Which one is easier to read? This number or this number?
The one before.
Why is this easier to read? Well, in theory, this one in media form, and this is the reason why this is reported that way. So why is that easier to read? Okay, Justin.
Because instead of saying all the digits, all you say is like 3 digits, 28.9 million. You don't have to say like 20. You don't have to say 28,197,714.
Yeah, this is easier to read. You're not having to read all the digits. There's a belief there that people find it easier to read something that's written in letters as opposed to something that's written in numbers, right? So therefore, whenever you see newspaper headlines or stuff reported in the media, it's usually reported like that. Okay? Okay, Brockton?
What if you don't know your decimals yet?
Well, then you don't know. People assume that it's not part of a million, right?
You don't really take place in the...
Yeah. You got to remove your hat, okay? All right. So any questions do with this? This we'll play with a bit more in a later lesson, okay? No, you don't have to write this down. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.